Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Coming in live. Hello, how are we doing? I'm just checking to see if we are on. If you can hear me, will you help and verify that tech is working and say hello in the comments? I am excited to be here because I get to chat about teaching and one of my favorite things, phonics. So let's see. I think we are live. It says we're live. So I'm going to say hello. I'm Christina Winter, and I'm super excited to be here today. I would love for you to say hello. Let's see if you can hear me. You can see me. Hello. Okay, I see friends here saying hello. Awesome. Sandra, Christy, Candace, Christy, Elizabeth, I can hear you. Yes. Okay. So first of all, how are you? It's Friday Eve. Show me an emoji, give me a GIF, give me something. How's it going? Are you hanging in there? I am hearing from teachers that it is harder than last year, and my heart is hurting for you, friend, because last year was hard. You might know that I am not currently in the classroom. I made a really hard decision a few years ago before COVID even happened that I was going to step out of the classroom and be home with my family. And so now this is what I do. I'm still trying to find ways to work with teachers, to talk with teachers, to share, to learn, and all of that. So enough about me. I'm glad to see everybody is here. I'm sorry that I see sad face emojis. I pray every day that, please, Lord, can it just be a little bit better soon? We're tired. So tomorrow's Friday. Let's think about that. But I want to say welcome if you're here, or if you're watching the replay, welcome also. Please feel free to drop in any comments or ideas, thoughts. We can all learn together here. Today we're going to talk about phonics, and it really lights my heart on fire. I have all my books here to share with you some things if you like to read and learn. Not that you have time, but when you do have time. But I also want to talk about what I'm learning and the principles of quality instruction. So more than likely, your kiddos in your class are struggling more than ever before. I hate to say learning loss because that just doesn't sound right, but our kids, you probably saw that little post going around Instagram or Facebook, like how many years like these kids haven't really had a normal school year. And it's hard. And so we are dealing with a lot of different things that we haven't. And we have to really, I just really want to say is we have to be very intentional right now with our instruction. So I don't want to give a lot of talk about research. I want to give you an actionable strategy that you can take to your classroom tomorrow. But I do want to just give you like 5 minutes of like the research and why I'm coming into you from this angle. Does that sound good? Okay. So you've likely heard about the body research called the science of reading. Some people are saying, oh, the pendulum is going this way. It's not. It's 40 years, decades of research. What's amazing is that there's all these scientists, so it's called the science. All the scientists have kind of come together. They've been, researching how the brain learns and all of that, and talking to linguists and cognitive and psychologists, and they're all coming together now, and they're putting out all this, research that they've done to talk about how students learn to read. And the research tells us that reading is not a natural behavior. Our speech is a natural behavior, but learning to read is not natural. Like we don't just like innately learn it. But the good news is that most everyone, can learn to read as long as they have evidence-based based instruction. And it's a learning skill. Like they can, like children can learn how to ride a bike, right? So that is kind of where I'm coming from, that students need to be explicitly taught. And the research kind of came back. Maybe you've heard the simple view of reading, that model. And that came out in like 1986. But the simple view of reading basically just talked about what it's a model that talks about what students need to comprehend text. And we know that they need decoding skills and phonics, phonemic awareness skills, but then they also need the language skills. And then in 2001, Scarborough's reading rope made an entrance. So we just celebrated 20 years. And I'm going to show you that. So Scarborough's reading rope is, let me see if I can get it on the screen. Yep. So Scarborough's reading rope is, students have to have both of these things to be comprehending or to be skilled readers. And so we see like the top part of the rope is like the phonics or the word recognition section of the rope. And then the bottom half of the rope is the language comprehension piece. And they like weave together for students to be considered skilled readers and to have comprehension of what they're reading. In this post where this live video is, I have put a link that is an excellent article. I have it right here. I printed it out because I'm the kind of girl who likes to print it and mark on it and highlight it and put tabs on it. But I've come back to this article, but what I love about it is it's really easy to read. It makes sense. So I linked it for you in the notes there. That you can go and check out the article. They even have it in PDF format. But Linda Stewart is the author who wrote this article. It's called The Science of Reading, Evidence for a New Era of Reading Instruction. And basically she starts explaining how so many students are not at, what we consider grade level, and then why, and here's what we need to do to fix it. And but she is the national director for the Reading League, which is like a nonprofit for reading. So that article is really good if that is something you want to read. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into the research because I know your time is so limited and I want you to have something that tomorrow you can bring back to your classroom. But I do want you to kind of understand where I'm coming from so that you understand these principles of quality instruction. So this is one resource for you. Another thing, again, I'm not in the classroom, so you are, and so you have a lot on your plate. But if you like to read or you are looking for a book club and you want to take it slow, here's some books that I highly, highly suggest. Wiley Blevins, he is kind of like the guy for phonics. I think he has actually written a whole phonics curriculum. But he has this book called A Fresh Look at Phonics. And what I love about it, it's, again, really easy to read. And the sections just mean a lot. But there's a lot of like things you can take into your classroom. So I have studied this book. It's so good. And then this book is called Speech to Print. It's an excellent, excellent book, but it is not easy to read. So I have done a lot of skimming of the chapters and I use it more as a reference. But Dr. Louisa Moats, she is the all-knowing person who she just talks, teaches all about her research and how bringing like speech to print. So it's a good one. And then my other favorite book is this one by David Kilpatrick, Equipped for Reading Success. And if you have heard about the Heartword method, this is the book that lit me on fire for that. But it's basically, he talks about in chapter 4. This book is also, it's got awesome phonemic awareness. One 1-minute activities that you can do. Half the book is just phonemic awareness activities. So it's not just about word recognition, but his chapter was all about how we don't store words in our visual memory, that we can learn words. We can learn those high frequency, which we call sight words, by mapping them to the phonemes. So we can learn the regular parts and then learn by heart. That's why it's called the heart word method. We can learn those parts by heart, and then we get a much quicker result, because not all kids learn by flashcards and rote memorization. And actually, that is not how the brain learns to read. It's not a visual process. So again, there's a lot. I could go into a ton on all of that, but I want to give you something that you can take away to tomorrow to your classroom that is highly effective. So let me get through one more slide. I'm going to show you. But in this article, the first article that I shared with you, and I've seen this in other places as well, she talks about the principles of quality instruction. So remember, we said that a lot of students fare, I think it says, many children today are not learning to read. Currently in the United States, only about 1/3 of our fourth graders are reading at grade level with accuracy, fluency, and understanding. That was in 2019. So only 1/3 of fourth graders are reading at grade level. I mean, so basically a way for us to work on that, to help our students to progress, is to be really intentional and focus on our instruction. So today we are focusing on the word recognition part of the rope, and that's the phonics part of the rope. And I want to talk to you about in your classroom when you're making decisions that you are teaching explicitly. That means that you are the teacher. You are not leaving things up to chance. You are clearly, explicitly saying to your students, today, friends, we are going to learn the short vowel A. The short A says ah, right? So we represent it with this symbol and we show them the A, right? So we are explicitly telling our students, we're very direct. It is us. We are doing the modeling, the talking, the teaching. Systematic means that we are going from in a certain system of order. So if we're talking about phonics, we're going from easy and we're progressing to harder skills. We're following a scope and sequence so that our students learn all 44 phonemes. Again, we're not going to teach like our controlled vowels, the beginning of first grade. We're going to go through as they learn in a specific order from easy to hardest, right? And it's building upon each other. Our lessons are engaging because we want our kids to buy in. We want them with us. And we want it to be relevant for them. They understand there's a purpose for their learning. So it's engaging. And then the next thing, intensive. So intensive, it's data driven, it's focused on skills. It's our tier 1 instruction is intentional. That word intensive looks like it's spelled differently. I think I might have had a typo. I'm so sorry. Anyway, and then number 5, cumulative. So that means that we don't just teach something and move on. So Wiley Blevins, in his book, he says that it takes students about, from something new, like emergent learners, it takes them about like 6 weeks to learn things at sometimes. So it's not like we teach the short A and move on. It's like we keep spiraling through it. And that can be tricky because, our curriculum and our pacing guides, they want us to kind of move forward, move fast. And that, in my opinion, that is where, literacy centers and things like that kind of come into play, because you're doing all of your explicit instruction. You're doing, the I do, that's me teaching, and we do it together. And then the you do is students who are doing it independently after you have really guided them and released the responsibility to them. But they're getting that cumulative practice of things that you have explicitly taught them, right? So there's that. So those are all quality instruction, what we should be really focused in doing. And so one of the things that I did for years and years, it's interesting because I started teaching in 1996 and I taught with Open Court Phonics. Does anyone else use Open Court Phonics? In my opinion, it was such a strong program. And in a way, I felt like it was a little too strong. It was a lot of scripted lessons, but man, did I learn a lot about teaching phonics as a brand new teacher. And one of the things I learned about was dictation. And so over the years, I kind of made it my own. In fact, Wiley Blevins highly, highly suggests dictation all the time, every day. But my kids really love this dictation routine, and I want to show it with you so that you can go back to your classroom and your kids could literally cheer that they are doing dictation, because we did dictation every Thursday morning, and my kiddos would kind of whine and moan if we had to skip it for some reason. So I think you're going to like it. I'm going to show you really quick, and then I'm going to flash the screen back. This is what it looks like. This is from my blog post. I had a picture of it. But I'm going to go through the whole routine with you so that you can kind of gauge what it looks like in a classroom. So I might be a little bit silly, but that's okay. But it's a great opportunity for you to it's the we do part. You're working with your students, and then you're also giving them corrective feedback as you go. But you get to hone in on so many skills you're going to see, and it's super fun. The kids love it. So let's get started with dictation. And you might want to get a pencil. I mean, this might be fun for you if you want to do it too. Let me just exit out of this little screen. Oh, I'm hitting all kinds of buttons that I shouldn't. Okay. There we go. Oh no. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Sorry, technical difficulties. I just got a new platform, and I don't know how all the buttons work. So, but you've been there, right? I mean, you taught a year virtually, right? Come on. All right, dictation. So basically, you will make a copy for your students, and in my classroom, we had our own little sound walls on a folder. This is a sound wall that comes with my sound wall kit. If you have it, you can print it out and make folders for your kiddos, or you can just print it out and do it back to back. It doesn't even have to be on a folder, so they can have it as a reference. Or there's this one where actually I really like this, but they build their sound wall. So they have these little cards that you'll cut out and put up as they learn the phonemes. So they're building their sound wall to make it really, really relevant for them. So there's the consonants and the vowels. So they'll have it out as a reference. And I'm going to show you, I was thinking about showing you a lesson. And I know that if we're teaching first grade or, beginning of the year, that you're very likely, I think, working on short vowels and maybe even consonants, or maybe starting to work into blends or digraphs. But I wanted to show you a little bit as the year progresses what it's going to look like, and that's why I'm choosing the long vowel A. So let's do that one. Okay, so you pass out the paper to the kids. They're going to, get their pencil. They have their little personal sound wall, or if your sound wall is up in your classroom, or any other phonics tool that they're going to need. They're going to need a tool to reference themselves because you're going to talk them through the activity together, right? So as you do it, the very first row here, there's 5 rows. The very first row, you can see that these spaces are smaller because these are for mostly letters for sure. At the top, they're just going to be letters, maybe a couple of letters together, then words, and then a sentence. And so we always do the same kind of routine. Also, I pre-make my little key, answer key, because remember, I'm intentional. We're using our minutes, maximizing our minutes. So I pre-make it because I know the skills that I want my students to be working on. I'm thinking about the things that I've seen them struggling with in the classroom. This would be a whole group routine, okay? But I've got this ahead of time. And something I found is I'm always using the same scope and sequence, so I can pretty much save this for next year and then just change a few things. So once you do the work, which this doesn't take a long time, 3 minutes maybe to kind of plan out what you're going to work on. But you can save it. And what I did is every year I would just kind of like teach it and then put it to the back. And then the next week was on top. Teach it, put it to the back. So that's a time-saving tip for you. Okay, first row we're going to do, I'm going to say a sound. Remember, it's Mrs. Winter's turn first. So my kids have their pencil, they're at their table, which usually I don't teach at their table. Most of the time I would teach with my kiddos in the carpet area, so I could be close to them, I could check on them, I could give them feedback really quickly, but I'd like them to sit at their table for this, and I like to project the empty template on the board, so it's kind of like a self-checking thing. So let's say, okay, friends, if you're ready, pencil up. So they have their like pencil up. Okay, first sound, and I would say to them, watch my mouth. I'd say, A, and then you're saying A. Well, when it's a long vowel, friends, there's a lot of different graphemes that represent the long A, right? So that's why they have to have their little folder out, because their little sound wall will show them all the different spellings, because you can't hear which kind of A. So I would just say to my friends, or they would say to me, Miss Winter, what kind of A? And I would say, and if there was kind of like a rule, I would say, friends, this is the A that's a vowel team, or this is the A that's usually in the middle of the word. And they would write it really quick and they put their pencil up. And then I'd say, Travis, what did you write? And Travis would say, AI. And I'd say, great job, Travis. And I would write AI on the board. And then I'd go, okay, next sound, friends. And then they would, they would look at me. I'd say, look at my fat mouth. So we're ready. So we're really focusing on those gestures, right? Our mouth positions. I would say, your turn. And they say, I would say, oh, everyone, put your hand in front of your mouth. What do you feel? We hear the air's coming out. So, okay, go ahead and write what you hear. They write it, pencil up. What did you write, Maya? Maya says, I wrote the blend S-T. I say, great job, Maya. Everyone give Maya a quiet cheer. So now we have 24 kids doing this, right? So, okay, next sound, friends. Get ready. A. You say it with me. A. Yes, Stephen. Miss Winter, what kind of A? Oh, that's a good question, Stephen. This is the A that's at the end of the word. We only find this one at the end of the word. Start writing it. Okay, I got it. Yes, what did you write? A-Y. Great job. Everyone give him a quiet cheer. Great job. So, at the beginning of the year, it goes a little slower because they have to learn your procedure, your routine. But pretty soon, it's pretty fast, right? And they're all participating. They're all, if our friends make a mistake, I might, tap their little paper. I know who my friends are, who I want to, check in on. But I can kind of give them the prompts that they need, the scaffold that they need. But they are also having an opportunity to hear it again and check it. They can fix it and keep going. So that's the top row. Again, I would do another. There's 4 spaces, so I would do another one. Again, it's what your kids need, but you're also keeping it very targeted within the skills that you're learning. So I'm sure you're probably thinking, oh, this week that you're doing this dictation exercise, you're working on the long vowel A. And I always taught AI and AY together, because obviously in first grade, they have to learn so many vowel teams. So you have to kind of group some of them, and those seem to go together because the AI always usually is in the middle of the word. I mean, some words start with it, like aim, but most words like mail and wait and paint, they all have the AI in the middle, and the AY is at the end of the word. So those were good ones to pair up. And that's also what Wiley Blevins in his scope and sequence, he suggests. So now row 2 is what I like to do, like the phoneme manipulation skills. So that is like insertion, deletion, substitution. So you could do things like this. Okay, friends, get ready. We're on row 2. Get ready. Everyone, say the word play. Say it with me. Play. You could say, count the sounds. P, L, A, play, right? Okay, say play, but now take away the first sound. So they could do L, A, play. Okay, I'm going to take off the P. So we've done this a lot of times so they know what that means, take off or, So then they're writing, okay, so they're writing the word, and then they raise their hand. I go, what did you write, friend? And Sarah says, I wrote lay. I say, how did you spell that, Sarah? L-A-Y. Sarah, how did you know that lay is spelled L-A-Y? Well, Miss Winter, I heard L and then A. So lay, A at the ending. I know that AY goes at the end of the word. Everyone, let's give Sarah a quiet cheer. Okay, friends, word number 2. Let's say the word paint. Everyone say paint. P-A-N-T. Paint. How many sounds did you feel in your mouth? 4 sounds. Great job, friends. Okay, we're going to take one of those sounds away. Say paint. But this time, I want you to take away the t at the end of the word. P-A. What word will you have? Write it. They're all just writing really fast. They're all excited because they know my secret word, right? So they've deleted a sound from the end of the word. So then Tanya raises her hand and she says, Miss Winter, I wrote the word pain. Great job. How did you spell pain? And as she's spelling it, I'm writing it on the wall. My friends who, didn't have it yet, they're hearing it 2 and 3 times because I sounded it, they sounded it. They heard their friends answering. So they're getting some practice. If they made a mistake, they're fixing it. As the kids are writing, I can walk around and I can see, and I could say, oh, you're so close. It's almost correct. Your word says pan. How can we make that say pain? And then he fixes it real quick, right? Okay, so the third word, we're going to say, all right, friends, everybody say mate. Mate. What word do we have? Mate. Okay, this time I want you to take the t off the end of the word. Mate. Take the t off the end of the word. So my friends are writing it. Paige, what word did you come up with when you took t off the end of the word? Paige says, Miss Winter, I wrote May. Again, I'm going to say, Paige, how did you spell May? She's going to tell me, and I'm going to say, okay, Paige, how did you know it was A-Y in May? Right? So we kind of keep going through that routine where we can also, another thing that we can do earlier in the year, because sometimes phoneme insert and delete and substitute, that's a little bit of a harder skill, but isolating a phoneme. So at the beginning of the year, right now, if you're just working on short vowels, you might say, friends, listen to my word, pan, pan. Okay, I want you to write the word pan, and then I want you to circle the middle sound in pan, or I want you just to write the middle sound in pan. I guess they would need to write the whole thing. They could just write the middle sound, right? Another thing that you could teach your friends, which I think is really awesome because they love to move, right, is head, waist, toes. So if you're doing a 3-phoneme word, pan, you could say n. Okay, write the sound that's in the middle of the word, right? So at the beginning of the year, I might not do as much like phoneme insertion, deletion, substitution, because that is a little bit more difficult. And I'm thinking first graders, kindergartners, second graders could very likely do it. But at the beginning of the year, you might work on the phonemic awareness skills that you're working on, identifying the beginning sound, ending sound, middle sound, all of that. So that would be row 2. We have 3 more rows to go. So hopefully you can stay with me. If you can't stay, you have to go. I understand. Share this to your personal page and you can watch the rest later. Okay, row 3 and row 4. It'll be pretty quick. You can do a lot of things. Again, there's no rules. This is something that I learned and I kept doing, and it was super effective. And again, it went with those principles of effective instruction, right? So this is, again, I said I did this always on Thursdays, kind of towards the end of the week after I did a lot of like the explicit instruction. But it gave my friends the we do part where we can do it together, and it gave me a lot of time to give them some feedback. And Shaniqua, this dictation paper is in my blog post, and there's a link in the top. It depends how you're viewing this, but there's a link in the top to go get the dictation paper. You can just download it for free on my website. And there. So, okay, so row 3 and 4, you can work on words that are in the skill that you're working on, like the long A words. Like you could literally just do some more challenging words. Like I would maybe do the word train because the TR is very challenging. Yes, can you say yes? That's challenging for our friends. So you can practice that. You can practice, again, you can say, I'm thinking of the word rain. Friends, write a word that rhymes with rain. And so your friends can just write any word that writes with rain. And then what I like to do is I like to, put your pencil up when you're done writing rain or writing your rhyming word. And then I would say to my friends, okay, my word is rain. Your word is, and they say train. My word is rain. Your word is brain. And so the kids get a chance to hear other people's rhyming words. They get a chance to hear if it is rhyming. We talk about why is it rhyming and things like that. We could also work on our high frequency words. So we could do, the heart words that we're studying that week. We could do like the word today. It follows that phonics pattern, but the word today is a heart word because the ooh is a schwa sound. So it's not really a decodable word. It's a word, the ooh and today. Did I say to do? Today is a heart word because the to is the schwa sound that we have to memorize that part by heart. But the day part is a part that we can decode, right? Or you can do like multisyllabic words, like if you're doing like compound words or multisyllabic words. I always tell my friends, shh, don't tell anyone. This is like a 3rd grade word. Don't tell anybody. But we're going to do, and then I just, clap out the syllables with the friends. Or if you're doing like compound words, friends, I have play and I have date. Put it together. I have play date. Oh, well, we're going to first do the word play. And so we would just kind of, work through that word. So on that section here, you can just basically do any 4 words that you want. Just, according to your scope and sequence, the skills, you can do words that you've reviewed from last week is a great thing to do as well. But their favorite part of dictation is the sentence, and it's my favorite part as well. Well, not my favorite part. I love all of it, but I love it too because they get to like kind of show off all the cumulative skills that they have been learning. So they get to write a sentence. So my friends know that the beginning of the sentence starts with a capital letter. And at the end of the sentence, we have punctuation marks. But my words are very intentionally chosen because they're going to be covering the skills that we have worked on. So there are no words that they would not have been exposed to. So the sentence here is Jay is on I'm talking like I'm talking to them. Jay is on a big gray train, right? So I always do my turn first. Jay is on a big gray train. You say it, friends. We say it together. Jay is on a big gray train. So you have your 24 kids saying this all together, right? Okay, let's count the words in the sentence. We're counting the words. Jay is on a big gray train. How many words are we going to write, my friends? 7, Mrs. Winter. Okay, let's say it one more time. Jay is on a big gray train, right? Okay, now I want you to think right now, what do we have to remember at the beginning of the sentence? Micah says a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so when you're writing, you're going to start at the top line because it's a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. What about the end of the sentence? We have to put a punctuation mark. Okay, friends, is this telling or asking? And they say, oh, this is a telling sentence. Okay, so now this is their favorite part. I don't know. And I kind of, at the beginning of the year, I have to explain to them what a typewriter is because I say type it out and they have no idea what a typewriter is because this is before their time. But it gives them an opportunity to move. And so it's engaging. They want to know the sentence because they want to move. So what we do is I tell them, and you're going to set up your procedures, your routines. You're going to teach them what's appropriate. They're not going to push each other. They know, right? So they're all going to shift to one side of the classroom and you're going to move from, let's see, I'm backwards with you, but you're going to move from left to right, just like you write in there. So you're going to move that way. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to stand up, and when they are doing a capital letter, so if there's a name or any kind of capital letter, they're going to stand up and they're going to up on their tippy toes and they're going to say J. And then they're going to do one step, is, one step, on, one step, the, and they're going to keep going. So it's Jay is on the big gray train. And then I'll say, okay, don't forget the ending, Mark. And so they know that they're going to put a period, so they're going to use one finger. They don't, I try not to get them to make that noise, but they put their period, and then right there, they all return to their desk and they're going to write independently. So then as they write it independently, I'm circulating around the room. I know who I need to maybe check in on and see if they need any help. But they just heard that sentence like 5 times. They moved through the sentence. We counted the words. We talked about the beginning. We talked about the ending. These words, J is on the big, all of those are words that high frequency words that they've known. Gray and train are words that fit into our word study program. So they can get it all 100%. And they love it because they feel confident, they feel good, but they are still working their brains and they're applying what they're learning. So that is dictation. And I'm telling you, if you do it, they gobble it up. They just absolutely love it. And I want to encourage you to try it. So try it and let me know. But I want you to really be really intentional. I want you to find a good scope and sequence. If you don't have a good scope and sequence, I have one that you can download for free on my blog. I used our expert, Wiley Blevins. I used his and I kind of printed it out. So that you can download it and you can use it for your instruction if you don't have one already. If you have my sound wall lessons, there's a scope and sequence for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade in there that you can print out and you can follow. But yes, be intentional, use a systematic scope and sequence. Be explicit in your instruction so that your readers are moving through and you can do it. So last thing before I go. So if you have any questions, of course, leave them for me. I have a ton of phonics activities. I love phonics. I love creating with phonics. Most of my activities I have created are self-checking, like they have sliding boxes or word matching decodable sentences or digital phonics activities that are all like systematic and things like that. So if you're looking for something, you can go to my website, mrswintersbliss.com, or just click that link up there. And you can look around. You can ask me any questions that you have. But go to that blog post that's linked and download the dictation paper so you can start it tomorrow. And then tell me how it goes. I can't wait. So I hope to see you again soon. I'm going to get on here regularly. So I'm going to sign off now so you can enjoy the rest of your night. So bye for now, friends.